Hi everyone, I'm Brandon Allinger from Propstore, and I'm here this evening with Mark Rolston, who of course played Drake in Aliens. Hey Mark, how are you?
Doing great, man.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks
Very
so
nice
much.
to meet you.
Pleasure.
We are here this evening at the Petersen Automotive Museum, where we have a special preview of the lots that are going to be sold in our upcoming auction. And of course, we have a great selection in this sale from Aliens, including some pieces that you used. Did you get a chance to see the smart gun inside?
I did. Yeah, it's bona fide. It's good.
Does that bring back some memories?
A lot of painful memories of
Yes.
lugging that thing around. But
Right.
yeah, it's a heavy weapon. Aliens was my first introduction to action film.
Okay.
So it was all new. But of course, Jim Cameron being a lover of gadgets, the film is filled with all sorts of gadgets that popped out of his brain. So
Well, maybe we can go inside and take a closer look at the smart gun. I'd love to hear more of what you thought of it.
cool, awesome.
Okay.
Let's do it. It was the first time that Steadicam harnesses had been, or Steadicams themselves were invented. So Cameron, of course, being the sort of gadget genius that he is, came up with the idea that we would use a Steadicam harness and use the cantilever arm to hold the weight of this gun. And this is seriously heavy. But the very first day that we actually went to test it, Cameron said to present the weapon. We put the weapon out and the whole thing flew off our chests and landed on the floor, and then we all stood there just shocked, and Cameron suddenly went, duct tape. The canister here, they would ping off of our head. So a little design flaw there from Cameron, right? But yeah, the most fascinating thing was that if you look back into the film, only Jim Cameron would think to actually drill holes into the hosel here of the weapon, because instead of just shooting flame out the end, it has that spectacular starburst effect and it just looks brilliant on film. When we were filming in the Acton Power Station, when we would let off the guns, bits of asbestos would come gently falling out of the ceiling just because of the blast of the weapons.
Sounds safe.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, the way that Cameron always had us at the forefront of any sort of, platoon maneuvers. So yeah, front and center was this baby. So it's great. It was one of the pieces that, when you put it all on and hooked it all up, you really looked like you were, geared up and ready for battle. So it just, the two characters in the film that were most geared up were Vasquez and Drake. The downside to this was, I think I alluded to before, was like once we put this all on, it wasn't coming off. So we stayed in this thing the entire day. We did go through a number of fittings where Cameron would say, no, we need another wire here that's going to go to the gun. And, so he customized everything that way. But it was really the armorers and, and the prop people who hooked it up. We only had input in terms of, personalizing stuff on the weapon and our costume. But yeah, items like this just sort of completed the look. I often wonder, he had the futurist Sid Meeks work with him. I know Sid, created the Sulaco, and he was also the gentleman who was the visionary behind Blade Runner. And I often wonder if Sid may have had something to do with this as well. This certainly could have been like, VCR camera, and then Jim probably invented this thing, like an infrared. Right. Like sighted lens or something. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right.
It's very cool. Yeah. This is all Jim Cameron. The guy had everything worked out to exact detail, and I can't tell you how many times we've actually had acknowledgement from real servicemen. We said, hey, the reason we love your movie so much is because it was so real and it was exact. It was the real stuff. And again, that's Jim Cameron just being a detail-oriented director and having everything be just right. So yeah, standard government issue, but yeah, it's sold the idea of us being space marines.
Was that like a metal plate that you were wearing?
Yeah, it was a sort of a very thin metal, but yeah, it was all metal. And, I guess Terry English must have put it all
Right, you
together.
did that too.
Yeah.
And did you do any customization on that, like some of the guys did on
Absolutely. I mainly recall what I had customized onto the weapon. I don't really recall what was on my breastplate. But yeah, we had one day where we had finished rehearsal and Cameron said, "Hey, pack up all your stuff, follow me." That's all he said. He goes traipsing off and like, where are we going? And he leads us to the art department, up a rickety bit of stairs and into this room where there's just like buckets of paint and brushes and chicken bones and bits of leather. And he just said, "Okay, you guys are here for the rest of the afternoon. Customize or you can personalize all your items." And we just sat there going, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, everything. Just do something." I ended up painting a set of very luscious breasts onto my gloves. I called my gun my bitch.
So you came up with that, the my bitch thing.
Yeah,
very cool.
And it became a little bit of competition amongst, well, certainly Paxton. You know, everyone's trying to like, "Oh, look what I did! It's so cool." But funny thing is you know, Jim Remar was in the cast at that time, and he customized or personalized his plate. And then when Michael Bean replaced him, you know, Michael was like, he always had a bugbear about, why did he paint this heart and things on the breastplate? It's not me. It's not the character. It's like,